Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Arcas Talks. And I didn't really expect to make an episode this soon, this early. I mean, I just put one out. So, what is this about? Why am I making this? And this is about Fuey 500, a Torbjorn-only player in competitive queue, has received a ban. This is huge. For the competitive environment, this is huge for competitive players in the game. Because Fuey is what people consider a one-trick. And what that means is if it's in a good situation or a bad situation, they will always pick the same character no matter what, leaving their team at a disadvantage in most situations, because there's only a few specific spots where being able to specialize in a single character like Symmetra or Torbjorn can be good for your team. And once that spot is gone, or the enemy somehow overtook it because something went wrong, now your team is at a disadvantage for the whole game. And while this is a disadvantage and a frustration for your team, this is actually not a problem, or was not a problem for these one-trick players. Now, before I continue, I would like to say this is not about the players themselves. This is not about Crow. This is not about Fuey 500. This is not about Eevee. This is not about any of these more prominent one-trick players on streams or in the game, not including the many of other players that like to one-trick on certain accounts. This is about the characters themselves and what this means for the game competitively as a whole. Now, after all of this went down, Fuey sent in a request to get his account unbanned he's banned for a day, to get his account unbanned, because this is obviously the stance up until now was one-tricking was fine. If you want to play your thing, it's fine. They were not punished in any regard at all. But that has now changed. I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is a screenshot of the Game Master's message back to Fuey regarding the 24-hour suspension. So, greetings and salutations. This is Game Master Arcas NOC at your service. I understand your predicament and sympathize with you. The reports that you received are not because you are playing a particular character in competitive. They are there because of your refusal to cooperate with the rest of the team, hence the disruptive gameplay suspension. If that means you are picking a particular character, completely ignoring the rest of the team composition and the requests from people that they cannot accommodate to your play style, then the reports are justified, I'm afraid. As a suggestion, if you wish to always play a particular character, I would advise you that you communicate this with your teammates, or even form a team that would be able to accommodate you to your own play style. Remember, this is a cooperative game, which sometimes means that you'll have to do some concessions for the team in order to have a better chance at winning. For this reason, we will sadly not remove the 24-hour suspension on your Overwatch game. Take care. Now, I believe two things I would like to say about this message is, first, remember this is a competitive game. I think this should be a distinction that this is a competitive game mode, not a competitive game. There's arcade and quick play. You are 100% allowed to play whatever the fuck you want, and who gives a shit that you play that in arcade or quick play. Competitive mode should be the distinction here. And the next thing is some concessions for the team. I believe that's supposed to say some compromises for the team, but I'm not the best at English, so I could be wrong. So on from that. So there's two sides of the camp for this. And both those sides is, one says everything, all one tricks are bannable. And the other side says, no one-tricks are bannable. Everything is fine, or nothing is fine. Why the Tord players? Why not the Mercy players? There's plenty of Mercy one-tricks out there. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. I don't believe that applies to Overwatch. This is more of a MOBA and a shooter combined. A game like CSGO that's more of a just a shooter, if you do nothing but save money and buy, I believe it's the M1, some heavy machine gun that's considered to have absolutely horrible recoil and a near terrible purchase every single time, if all you do is only buy that, you're considered a detriment to the meta of the game and of the team. Currently, Mercy is incredibly meta, and having a Mercy specialist on your team is very, very beneficial to you. Now, Torbjorn and Symmetra are two other characters that if you have a specialist on your team and it is a map that they can be very effective on, then that's good for you. But most of the time, these characters are only very good in certain sections of the map, and after those sections are broken through, after all that's said and done, then it's not good anymore. The character is bad. You're basically playing down a person the whole game. So it creates this huge disadvantage for your team by playing the single character. Now, like I said about people going into the all or nothing, and how I said that it doesn't work because things are meta. The upcoming Mercy changes, I'm going to guess, based on the changes if they go live, where Mercy now has a 75% move speed reduction while rezzing, and a 1.75 cast time while rezzing, which completely destroys the character outside of her ultimate. She's going to be a pretty bad pick, in all honesty. She's going to definitely be overshadowed. I'm honestly going to expect a little more Lucio Zenyatta than Lucio Ana to some extent, because the damage buff on Ana doesn't overcompensate for the fact that Zenyatta's Discord Orb is just really good. But we're talking more meta here, what things are going to be good. So as soon as that nerf goes live and Mercy becomes a bad pick, then what's going to happen to them? Right now, Mercy one-trick ponies are safe. They're fine. They're living the high life because Mercy's great. But when the nerf goes through, this applies to them. Picking a character in a bad situation applies to them. They should not be playing bad characters in bad situations. If you're playing on something like Lijiang Tower Garden, where pharmacy is very prominent because it's very good, yeah, sure. Once again, right back to the thing where specialists and having specialists can be very beneficial for you. But picking those specialist characters on maps and situations and team comps where they're not good is a huge detriment to your team. And that's the distinction I've really pushed because I've really wanted to make it. And because the metagame is really going to rotate consistently, and I also forgot to mention Mara is coming out, which she's probably going to be decent, so we'll see how that goes. But how the metagame really transitions that certain things are just going to be bad. Playing a certain character is going to be bad. Either they got nerfed, or the map is bad for them, and that is anti-competitive behavior. Playing a competitive ranked ladder, but not playing characters, or not playing to the best of your abilities, to play different characters to match the situation. Now you can say, well, but they are playing to the best of their abilities. They're playing the one character that they can play well, right? No. There's too many different heroes, and there's too many different counters to only play a single character, no matter what it is. Excluding the pure meta picks. So, what I would advise to players is learn the counter complement, or the complement counter to your specialist. If all you do is play one character, you know what? Take 5 or 6 days off ranked before decay kicks in. If you play Torbjorn and the bane of your existence is a Pharah, because Pharah absolutely destroys Torb, he can't put a turret up, he can't do anything, his shotgun spread is too wide, and his projectiles are incredibly slow, learn to play a McCree, learn to play a soldier. Learn to play the counter complement to your specialist so you can deal with these situations when you're hard countered. That's a competitive mindset. That's a competitive play style. And these players are capable of at least picking up and playing these characters to a minimum degree. And it's better to have a character played on an average level than have a specialist character played but being taken out of the game completely by an enemy pick. So, as we go on, this is a big thing that really just broke. We might get a little more updates. Maybe this was a big mistake. Who knows? Maybe One Tricks will be 100% fine and we'll get a message from Jeff Kaplan on the forum saying this was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. But I hope not. This anti-competitive behavior has been a problem in the competitive system for a long time. And one of the other things I think I mentioned previously is that the system rewards these players for one-tricking. Now, you can be punished for one-tricking. But that still doesn't change the fact that the system, if you play an off-meta hero, and only play that hero for the whole match, you will gain more SR if you win, and lose less if you lose. It's pretty simple fact. I currently have a 53% win rate in competitive queue at about 4,100, something like that. That's all solo queue. And I have lost more SR than I have gained. That's a problem. Because at that point you start to go, that doesn't make sense. In any competitive system, winning more than 50% of your matches means you win, right? So far in Overwatch, it hasn't. So this is a problem that is bigger than just people one-tricking. While I believe that the banning is justified, it doesn't fix the issue of the system. And that's something we really need to work towards. But to really, I guess, wrap up this video is, once again, I would like to say this is not about the players. I have heard many good things about Fuey. I've heard good things about other more one-trick players, but their uncompetitive attitude and play style is not good for competitive. And with this coming into the fold, maybe it will push them to learn some other characters, or if they really just want to play that one character, they can stay in quick play and they can stay in arcade. Competitive mode should be for competitive players. And while specialist characters sometimes might be meta, and sometimes might be one-trickable because of the meta, eventually the meta is going to change. And if you don't change with the meta, if you don't have a competitive mindset to play around anything new or anything changing, you're a detriment to your team. It is a huge downfall. And while you might be able to play your specialist character on some maps and some situations, which could give your team a huge boon for being able to play these, I believe you should also learn the counter complement to your specialist character, so if you get countered, you are able to play something else, because that is how you play the game competitively. This is a competitive mode. You should be rewarded for playing to win. The system as it stands rewards you for playing a single character, rewards you for not playing to win, but playing against everybody else on your team and the enemy team. This is an issue larger than one tricks. and I believe that as we continue on, it will still be an issue to some degree, but this is a first step towards fixing that. Thank you for watching. See ya.